Ready on the west?
Ready on the west.
Get going in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back to Pioneering Change. I'm your host, Ryan Early. Today we got a very special guest, as always, the famous Mr. Hemp himself, James Johnson. Thank you for joining us, sir.
What's going on, man? How you doing today?
Oh goodness, we're having fun, right? Like I said, this is the first really 85-degree day we've had. So I'm in board shorts, the Huntington Beach shirt. We're living it up.
You earning that Farmer Ryan name today. I like it.
You see the farmer's tan, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself, where you at, what you do, how we met, and we'd love to hear it.
Man, that dude. And the crazy thing is, most people don't really know this story about you and I. But I was in the Air Force for 21 years. I retired in August of 2016. I started off a medical laboratory technician. Then I left and I was a drill sergeant for 5 years. Then I came back medical for 4. And then I did something unprecedented towards the end of my career. I actually cross-trained to be a flight engineer on C-130 aircraft. So like straight up unheard of, right? To go from medical, to airplanes and then, make it successfully through that. And retired in 2016. Prior to retiring, didn't know anything about, this plant, so to speak. And after I retired, PTSD was something that was real in my life. My last 5 years, I deployed 3 times. And, when I first retired, first 2 months, I didn't leave my house. I just had no desire to leave, had no more people to serve, nothing else that really, kept me engaged. And one day I got a phone call from a buddy of mine. He said, "Hey, I want to help farmers in Oklahoma figure out how to get the permits to be able to grow hemp. Because Department of Agriculture wanted them to grow it. Farmers wanted to grow it, but they were under the 2014 Farm Bill provisions, and there was nobody to help really figure out the process for getting the permits. So he said, I need somebody to have my back while I do this. And him saying the words "have my back" is what snapped me out of my funk, because he was somebody who had a lot of trust with me. And I decided to go in and start helping him figure out a process to help farmers grow. So shout out to Tom Jenkins for being the one who, brought me out of my funk. And then going in, doing things with him and his organization. He had a little CBD store, and, him having that CBD store, it was Your CBD products that he actually carried in his store. And they were having a supply issue one day. And I walked into, let's say a discussion, amongst him and his wife about it. And, I was like, what is going on? Why are y'all so ornery right now, And they were told me that they were having problems getting resupplied, and they sent emails and nobody responded, and they tried to call and nobody answered. And I was like, well, I mean, where is this place? They were like, oh, it's like 7 minutes right down the road. So I'm like, are you shitting me? This place is y'all haven't, you know what? I'll be right back, So I literally got in my car, drove over to Cantech Labs, shout out, to your mom for being the angel that she is, because I came in and I was like, look, here's who I am. Here's my card. Here's what I'm trying to get done. And, these guys are trying to get supply. Who do I need to speak with? And, we talked for a few minutes, and then she went to the back and she got you. And, fortunate for me, when you and I were downstairs not downstairs, but downtown at the Capitol, when they signed, the Farm Bill,
House
you
Bill
and I
29,
first met.
2913,
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yep. We actually met there for the first time. And when you walked out from the back, I was like, bro, you were like, bro, and then we just kind of started talking, and I'll always give you credit for being one of my first real mentors, in this space, because of the early onset education, that I gained through, being around your crew, in your facilities. Fast forward time now, a lot of that has turned into the Hemp 101 seminar that I actually teach across the country now. different locations. I co-own a CBD brand myself, Active Duty RX. Please go visit the website, www.activedutyrx.com. We just got the website, up and going again, and it is phenomenal. We got some phenomenal research out there. Shout out to Sheridan Wiles for doing a great job, with that, for us. I'm partial owner of a medical marijuana grow in Oklahoma myself. And, most recently, I actually opened a cannabis testing laboratory here in San Antonio, Texas, called Veteran Scientific Laboratories. Now, unfortunately, we closed the doors to the lab in December of last year because there just wasn't enough business coming in fast enough for us to sustain, what we did. But the education and the resources and the connections that I made during that time were nothing short of phenomenal. We were ISO accredited and we were registered with the DEA. So that was, quite the accomplishment. And now I've actually do some consulting for some different organizations. I am actually the VP of Business Development for a company called Canavision here in the Fort Worth, Texas area. Doing some amazing things with them, helping them get going with some projects, and it's been great. It's been amazing, and I've never gotten lost in the sauce because of that initial education that I gained from dealing with you and hanging out and just being around and bringing people up there. Oh, you got to see what Ryan's doing. Oh, come here, you got to see what Ryan's doing. It was amazing.
I do remember that day well. I think you said, hey, if you don't mind, I'm going to hang out and just talk with some people and learn a little bit. And I said, you know what, do that. And you did. and so now you have, and you touched on so much there. I'll try to break a little bit of that down as we go back through it. But now you are educating, traveling the country. You just got back from NOCO, the Hemp Expo there, spoke out there.
Amazing event, yes.
You'll be speaking in 2 weeks, actually on a panel with myself.
Yeah, man.
At the EarthX, which is the world's largest conservation event. They do have a cannabis section this year, which is going to be awesome. Some great products being represented, and a lot of good speakers, a lot of good panels. I believe all 168 countries will have representatives there.
Man,
which is pretty huge.
Absolutely.
Of course, we're going to be out talking about Blue Magic, talking about veterans health programs, Active Duty RX, which I can personally attest to, and even some new products that you got coming out, and we'll get to those here in just a bit too. So, first off, I'd like to drop back and I think for the some of the entrepreneurs that are on the show that watch, and maybe even those considering to become an entrepreneur, kind of what was the defining moment in your life, right, when you said, I want to no longer, go to work for the military, for example, every day, and step out into this new space. And obviously it wasn't new because you went from biochemistry to engineering, right? So right. You clearly weren't scared to step out. But I just, at what age, kind of what time in your life did that happen?
Oh, man. So I've been working since I was about 15 years old. My father used to own a mobile home business where he used to move them, set them up, tear them down, and I used to, work with him in the summertime to earn money for my school clothes because I realized that, I didn't want my mom and dad doing everything, for me forever. So, I started working with him, between the ages of 13, 15, people playing kickball and football on Saturdays. I get out of this big ass diesel rig coming home just covered in mud, from head to toe because I've been working with him all day. I worked, from freshman in high school all the way through graduating high school at a car wash. I purchased my own first car. No one's ever purchased, a vehicle for me or anything like that. So, from an early age, I had this sense of independence, wanting to get things done because I just wanted them done at the pace that I wanted them done for myself versus relying on somebody else to do it for me. And then I joined the military, right? 21 years, and everybody knows hurry up and wait, in the military. Get up and voice further, on things like that. And I was good at it, but, just set up, certain frustrations because I wasn't in control of the process, from start to finish. And it was just, one of those things where it was a great experience. I met a lot of great people, great paycheck, involved. But I had the good fortune of, when I was in the military, about 12 of my 21 years, I was involved in network marketing opportunities, different companies. And I actually was able to hit the top level of a company while I was stationed in Germany, serving, separate, outside of my military time. So I got very good at building networks and driving, or I always say having my hands in the mud, myself. I'm accustomed to having my hands in the mud versus buying something pretty that's already finished, right? So since that was it's been a part of my DNA, for so long, lo and behold, I get started in this space and I see things that are wrong, and I know that I've been blessed with a skill set of communication where I can convey certain things to people and do it in a way that eventually they respect. I piss a lot of people off at first, not gonna lie, but by the time they have a chance to think about what they said, they know that I'm truly trying to help them, because they realize that I'm not a yes man. I'm your man. If I'm telling you something, I am telling you something because I don't want to see you hurt, injured, or hurt or injure others later on. So the only way I could effectively do that was to own processes from start to finish myself and not have to deal with, someone in between. And lo and behold, I look up and you look in the dictionary and there's something called entrepreneurship. I just call it getting shit done, myself. But, it brings a sense of freedom that a lot of people don't get to achieve, because they get so caught up in that race day in and day out. I got to show up at this time. I get to leave at this time. If I do this, they give me this amount of money. You flip a switch, get a banana, so to speak. And I just did not want to be a part of that anymore. I wanted to make a difference, and I wanted the freedom to be myself through and through, no matter what situation or circumstance I'm in. And that's why, entrepreneurship worked for me. Being fortunate enough to retire, and, well-documented medical records of my time in service, led to, disability compensation with, the VA as well. And a lot of people talk shit about the VA. I really have nothing bad to say about the VA, provided that you're proactive with the VA and you get things done and you get things back to them at time and you actually show up for the appointments. It can be a wonderful process. Right. But for those that don't understand it, it sets up a source of frustration. And I love being able to find my fellow brothers and sisters that have no VA rating because they didn't do what they needed to do before they got out of the military, and help them get their VA ratings. I've helped people get anywhere from $12,500 up to $100,000+ in back pay that was due to them, because they just finally got around to turning in their documentation to the VA. And I don't work for the VA. That's the crazy thing about it, man. I don't work for the VA. I don't care to be their employee or right. whatsoever. But I am a freaking senior NCO through and through, and I'm gonna look out for people because that's in my DNA. That's just what I do, Right.
On that note, we're going to take a quick break, hear from a couple of sponsors. We'll come back and we're going to talk more about some of the programs, some of the products you've developed specifically for veterans. So we'll be right back. All right, we've got a very special guest, Steve Leff from PatriotSentinel.com. Steve, thank you for joining us today. Obviously,
Thank you, Ryan, for having us.
news is a buzz, and I think you've got a little bit of intel we'd love to hear, sir. So please fire away.
Yeah, today was a big day. One of the things, that we've heard a lot of is that the rule of law has died today officially with the arraignment of President Trump in Manhattan court because of District Attorney Alvin the Chipmunk Bragg. And, I normally don't use derogatory words to talk about people. But as a former New Yorker myself, I can tell you that we fled New York because of people like this district attorney who came into power, and his promise was that he was going to let the criminals go and he was going to downgrade all of the felonies to misdemeanors, which he has, not all, but over 50% of the felonies that have been charged in Manhattan. This guy, Alvin Bragg, and I can't even refer to him as a district attorney, he has downgraded to misdemeanors, okay? In this one case with President Trump is the only case that I'm aware of, and we've looked it up, where he has taken misdemeanors and elevated it to a felony. Why? Politically motivated? I don't see how it's not, especially since the fact that two of his DAs last year wanted to indict Trump on some charges, and he said, no, we're not going to do it. And they actually quit the district attorney's office. Well, lo and behold, they say timing's everything. And with Bragg, he waited less than 24 hours after Trump decided that he was going to run for the presidency and announced it. And then he announced that he was going to have Trump indicted. So with that, yeah, that's the saying of the day. Justice has died today. The political machine has taken control of the FBI. It's taken control of the district attorney's office. And here we are. So.
Well, and we know the justice system has been weaponized for a long time. Today, it became very evident, and anyone that wants to deny that seems like they can no longer hide behind that shield. So it's a pretty sad day.
Yeah, it is sad, but somebody said that sunlight's a great thing because it sanitizes for the truth, and I believe that's the case. If you watched and we have it up on the PatriotSentinel.com right now, we have the full indictment up along with some commentary from one of our columnists, along with some background on DA Bragg, who, by the way, we dubbed him the winner of the Soros Putin Prosecutor of the Year Award for 2023 because of what he's done. And let me tell you something, that guy earned it. I thought that George Gascon, or whatever that guy's name is out in Los Angeles, who pretends to be a district attorney, he really should be working on the defense. We thought he might win, but no. With this, Alvin Bragg, he wins, and I think he's got to go to Siberia to get his prize.
Yeah, well,
we'll buy the ticket for him.
Yeah, one way. So
yeah, well, he won't need the other way.
Steve, I know you're very short on time today. I can't thank you enough for coming on and giving us the update.
That's okay. If you wanted to take a look at the indictment, we can also, if you have a couple minutes, we can go through it with you.
I would love it. Yes, please.
We had him.
Absolutely.
We had it queued up, and yeah, we are running a little over, but that's okay. We cleared our schedule, so if you guys want to see it, we can talk to you about it. I can try and share my screen with you, and see what happens there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, okay, so this is the actual indictment that was unsealed today. It says that Donald Trump violated 34 times Penal Law Section 175.10, falsifying business records in the first degree. Now, before we get into the details, and I'll try and keep it just in plain English, this is saying, and by the way, falsifying business records in the second degree is just misdemeanor. Okay. He said in the first degree, and he claimed it in the first degree because he wants to make it into a felony because he needs something, and misdemeanors won't stick. The main problem he had, if he went just with falsifying business record, is the first is that it's barred by the statute of limitations. That's run out, and that statute of limitations means a prosecutor only has a certain amount of time for bringing a case against a potential defendant. And that's because if you have something, you got to get it out of the system. You got to go. You can't hold something against somebody forever. After it lapses, you are done. So first, Trump's lawyers are going to say to the court, this has to be dismissed. statute of limitations problems. Now, there are certain exceptions to that. In this case, he may bring in, which he says he was going to in the past, he even said he was going to today, a higher crime. And the falsifying business records in the first degree depends upon you pleading another crime, okay, to cover or commit or cover up another crime. And if you can see here, you can see where it mentions another crime, okay, or aid in the concealment thereof. So without that, you have no felony. You've got 34 stacked misdemeanor charges. Now, normally, prosecutors and in the federal U.S. Attorney's Office and on DA's offices as well, they talk about not stacking charges. So in other words, if you're going into a store and you steal a candy bar and you say, wait a second, I might as well steal 5 candy bars, and you get arrested for it, they're not going to charge you with 5 crimes of stealing 1 candy bar, stealing the other candy bar 5 times. They're going to charge you with 1 crime, whatever it may be. That's one charge. What he's looked to do is to take 34 bookkeeping entries and charge each of them separately rather than together, because most of these could have been charged together, but he just decided to do it separately because 34 sounds better than 1. And if you got nothing, it looks better if you have more than nothing. It'll take somebody to realize there's more of nothing here if you got to read through it 34 times, but it's 34 nothings. And I like to say nothing burger, but that's kind of outdated, so I'm not going to say that. I already said it. All right. So you can see here what you got. You've got 1 count, okay, and it talks about business record, false entry of business records, right? So if we look and we go through the indictment, and we just look to see how many times it's there, you're going to see it's going to be there 34 times, okay? 1, 2, there's a 3rd count, 4th count, 5th count.
Same charge.
I'm not going to bore you. It's basically the same charge. It's just he's claiming different entries or different invoices. Now, the one thing you look at is these are entries into a general ledger, or these are invoices regarding Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, who was convicted of perjury and a whole bunch of other things and sent to jail, and basically has said everything both ways. So if you can say it black and white, he said it black and white. And unfortunately, the testimony is going to rely, if they ever get to it, on Michael Cohen's testimony. The case is going to rely on his testimony, and that just won't fly. But instead of getting right to that, this whole thing depends upon that other crime, okay? And we always say, what is that other crime? Because you have to plead that other crime, or that another crime, as he says. And here we have 34 times. I'm just going to scroll through it. Another crime. He doesn't mention the other crime. That's pretty much fatal in an indictment for a felony. So in his in his speech, in his press conference after the indictment, Alvin Bragg said he didn't need to mention the other felony here. And that, by the way, would be the hush money that was paid to either the Playboy model, which he would claim, or to Stormy Daniels. And by the way, and I'm sorry just to keep talking, but this is something that really gets me going. It really grinds my gears for those of you who are a fan of another cartoon show. But this really does get to me, because that other crime would be a Federal Elections Commission crime, a federal crime for which DA Bragg has zero ability to charge against. He has no authority to charge against a federal crime. He knows that. Everybody else knows that. But the media is going to buy into this. And if he doesn't list it here, you can't attack it. So he thinks if he doesn't list it, nobody's going to know it. Unfortunately, Donald Trump's attorneys, unfortunately for Bragg, Donald Trump's attorneys, I think know about this already, and will for sure be making a motion to dismiss based upon that as well. So those are 2 of the biggest reasons why this joke of an indictment will get thrown out of court. Speaking to Roger Stone, who, you've spoken with, we highly respect him as well. New York is a severely Democratic state and city. The judges, Democratic followers, elected Democrats. The juries are mostly Democrats as well. So whether the rule of law will be followed, I don't know. But there are appeals courts. The appeals courts in New York, also Democratic. The Supreme Court, Court of Appeals in New York, which is the highest court there, Democratic. But then you've got the federal courts, and that's where this is going to go, 100%, because this can't stand otherwise.
No, I couldn't agree more. It, like you said, it's an embarrassment, and they don't have enough to truly. Yeah, and I always go to, okay, they're making this, so it's always the look over here while what's going on over here. I wonder what else is going on right now that we'll hear about in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the road, because clearly, I mean, this is a political stunt for whatever reason, and it's campaign hindering. It's very hard to travel and campaign when you're under gag order and can't talk about certain events that are the most important topic of today's news, right? So.
Well, we didn't see a gag order today, though, unless it's coming.
No, I know they were
I didn't see
threatening
one.
it, but I hadn't heard if one was ordered or not. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I think that would have really been a step over the line for the judge, who we also know is a Trump hater. And supposedly, according to Donald Trump's Truth Social post today, his family is a Trump hater as well. But you hit on a good point. Why are they doing this? What's the point? And the point is not to punish him with jail time or a conviction. But the process here is the punishment. Going through this process, as they see it, is the punishment.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately for them, they don't see the big picture, because this is going to galvanize Trump's base. This is going to make the independent people see what a joke our justice system has become, how it's been weaponized, as you said. And this is part of the attempted destruction of Donald Trump, the candidate, because they can't have him take office. If he takes office, all these guys are bye-bye. He's going to get rid of everything. He's going to purge the FBI. He's going to purge the intelligence community. He's going to get rid of the deep state. He's going to get rid of everybody that has made this country the laughingstock that it is today. And they can't have that. So they have this indictment. They have the Georgia indictment. They have the January 6th special investigation, which is going on. And then they have the classified document investigation, which is going on. Yep. And I guarantee you, they're going to come at him with all barrels blazing. But you know what? I believe in a higher power, and I know that he will win. He will win. Evil will lose, and we will get Donald Trump as a president in 2024.
Well, that is a very insightful prediction, and I couldn't agree more. I pray, that we get a president back in office that cares about America, that cares about its people, and will put its America first policies. So.
Yeah, and you know what else we can do to those people who are, watching this? Your state legislatures, there are 23 states in this nation where it's Republican-controlled governor, Republican House, and Republican Senate. Those 23 states need to enact election laws that protect the integrity of the process. Voter ID, get rid of these absentee ballots.
Absolutely. And
have paper ballot voting, because we all know that all those voting machines, we all know what's going on with them. 4 a.m, somebody types something in, next thing you know, somebody else wins. Okay, so we need our voters to talk to their state legislatures, to message their governor, send an email out, make a phone call, say we need people to show their ID when they vote, just like you have to show your ID to get on an airplane.
Or cash a
But
check.
you don't have to show an ID to vote. Yeah, or cash a check. But you know what? It's discrimination if you ask somebody to show an ID when they vote.
Sure.
And just horrible.
I'm still old school. I write down notes. I keep everything on notepads in my briefcase, and I have tablets and I have technology, but I still prefer to scribe it. It's hard to change from old habits, and so.
Well, you don't look that old, but I understand.
No, an old soul, right?
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with that. But you know what? It's nice to see people like yourself and people like Moto and others. Although I did hear that Moto was a liberal, so we'll talk to him about that another time.
Oh,
but it's good.
Goodness. Cussing him out there.
Yeah. I don't want to listen. I'm always one for picking a fight. Okay, it's nice to come and be amongst friends and share thoughts and everything.
Absolutely.
But there's nothing like getting to the truth and talking and being able to not take it personally. Just get down and dirty, get into an old-fashioned debate, and not be sensitive and not be a snowflake and woke and have your feelings hurt and have to run into a safe space. Okay.
For sure.
It makes me sick what goes on. But I'm happy you invited me on, Ryan, and anytime you want us back,
Absolutely.
we're here for you.
I'd love to get a little more time scheduled and do a full episode. I think we've got a lot that we could discuss. And thank you for coming on and giving us that special update.
Absolutely. Thank you. And you guys have a wonderful day. God bless.
You too, buddy. God bless.
Introducing all new, safe, natural relief. A cannabinoid-rich, clarity and focus formula with 17 essential supplements. When it matters most, you've got a job to do. Anxiety isn't an option. Programmed to keep you moving. A product exclusively manufactured for Active Duty RX by Cantech Labs.
All right, welcome back, Patriots. We're here with James Johnson, former U.S. service member for 20 years, retired, and now on the path of entrepreneurship and bringing homeopathic and allopathic and natural, lifestyle to the world, traveling the country, speaking, talking about it, and that's what I wanted to talk just a little bit about some of the products that you're working with, specifically designed for veterans. Active Duty RX.
Yes. So Active Duty RX is the brand. You go to www.activedutyrx.com. From there, within the website of Active Duty RX, there is a product in particular called Clarity and Focus. Now, all of our products are THC-free, verified, and tested, meaning no detectable levels of THC in our products. But that Clarity and Focus is something special, because it was specifically designed for people with PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Now, I'm not making medical claims. I'm just saying that that's what it was designed for. And I, personally have a great sense of pride with that product, because I take it every day, myself. And I take that product to get me off of the opioids that I was on, in a lot of instances, with the VA. And I've been able to transition, off of a lot of those products. But the thing, one of the things that I'm most proud of, there are 19 vitamins and minerals in this one product. Things like turmeric, moringa, ashwagandha root. You just added N-acetylcysteine to be able to access the mitochondrial pockets or the mitochondrial cells to help with energy. All of these ingredients and more are actually in this product to help with gut health. And then we added, CBD to it, because most people will make these claims about a CBD product. No, we focus on a lot of different ingredients, putting them together to find the perfect combination so that they have a synergistic effect on the body. And then we added CBD to it. And most people are like, man, that's amazing. I want some of that. Well, hold on a second. We added vibrational frequency programming to those capsules as well. So by having that vibrational frequency programming, that kind of put us on another level of the game. And as we were doing research for this, I learned some unique things myself in looking at, cognitive function and the brain. You have the different electrical impulses, to the brain. You have alpha, beta, delta, theta, gamma, right? The gamma signal is the one from some of the research that we've done. The gamma signal is the one that makes all the others talk together in unison. And what they found in people with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, they have decreased gamma function. So if you find a way to boost the gamma signal to the brain, these others start working in unison again instead of, one by itself or just, maybe the other one. So having that true synergistic effect, on the body with the 19 vitamins and minerals, including the CBD, the vibrational frequency program, it was amazing. And me, I went 2 steps further, right? So one of the things that I did was I actually paid for 5 vets out of my own pocket. I paid for them to have QEEGs done, which are basically brain scans, right? We did some baseline brain scans with 5 combat PTSD diagnosed veterans. We did baseline brain scans with none of our formulation in their system at all. Then we gave them a week's supply of it and then had them go back and repeat those brain scans again. And their cognitive function was showing through the roof, in just about every instance. And that was cool. But then we actually had someone write a formalized study or formalized paper on that. And it's actually published on the website. So you can see that and go take a look at it anytime for yourself that you so choose. So a lot of people will say, well, that's not enough to be a double-blind study. But, well, you know what? Damn it, I don't have $20,000, $30,000 sitting in my back pocket to do no crap like that. But I know the personal effort that I've made to help my fellow brothers and sisters feel better, right? Absolutely. So that was the first thing. And then the other thing that I did, I'll never forget this, man. I was actually teaching my Hemp 101 at a prominent medical center called Premise Medical Center in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And Premise Medical Center is a medical center where they actually do a lot of the initial screenings and the return to work physicals for Department of Transportation drivers like Swift, Penske, Hertz, the big ones, right? They do all their medical screenings and their drug testing. And when I was doing my Hemp 101, I was wrapping up, the owner of the center said, man, yeah, this stuff is great. We wish more of our people could take it instead of those, those meds, but they can't because they'll fail drug testing. I'm like, no, they won't. He's like, well, why? I was like, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you. Just go do me a favor. Go get a cup, right? So I had him go get a cup, and he got the cup. I gave him an on-the-spot urinalysis, knowing that my own formula has been in my body for 4.5 years at that point. I gave him an on-the-spot urinalysis, and they even collected a hair follicle sample test. Now, they had to shave my armpits because I don't have enough hair on my head, but literally on the spot, no notice, 5-panel hair analysis, 10-panel urinalysis, they both came back negative. And I don't just say that. If anybody emails me and wants to see those results, I've got no problem with sharing them. My email address is James, James, at jjgro.com. Email me. I'll be glad to send you those results. So if I can have my own system in my body for 4.5 years, randomly walk in somewhere and take a drug test and pass with flying colors, I think my fellow brothers and sisters in law enforcement, first responders, veterans, as well as military members will be safe, because these products are truly THC verified and tested. And, I have Ryan and Cantech Labs to actually thank for that because of the time, energy, and effort they put into these products prior to them coming out to the public, having the highest standards of testing and reassurance of test results.
Absolutely, and not every batch makes it through. We, as you very well know,
yes, sir.
The standards are very tight, and not every batch makes it. Sometimes we get, ingredients in that simply, may come with testing that says it's good, but when we send it out to, ISO labs, you owning an ISO lab, very familiar.
Absolutely.
When we really put it to the test, so many items don't pass that bar, and so I promise you the products that do come out of Cantech Labs, for active duty especially, with some of those nootropics, are very highly scrutinized, and well, we're very proud of those. So, and
I really feel like you guys have my back. There's never been one time, there's never been one day when I have walked in those doors and never gotten, what I need from American Wholesale Hemp, Cantech Labs, very professional people. I'm always greeted with smiles the whole time I'm in there. And I love when I come to Oklahoma. That's like the first stop, every time I come there. So kudos to you for the crew that you put together.
I'll tell you what, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. And we will be right back to talk about some new products coming out for Active Duty RX. Hello, Patriots. We're here with iconic political operative Roger Stone, and you can find out more about him at stonezone.com. Roger, I'd like to talk a little bit about the recent dismissal of your charges in the January 6th incident, if you wouldn't mind sharing just a little bit with our viewers.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm happy to say that my prayers have been answered. Now, I wasn't, of course, on the ellipse, did not march to the Capitol, was not at the Capitol. And I literally know nothing about what transpired at the Capitol. But that hasn't stopped the fake news media, particularly ABC News, from attempting to use guilt by association, utilizing my longtime 43-year personal relationship with Donald Trump, and the fact that on the 5th, I gave a speech at a legally permitted rally in which I specifically said that I viewed the struggle that America was facing as one between good and evil, between dark and light, between the godly and the godless. And I said that if America did not win this fight, we would step off into 1,000 years of darkness. CNN said that that was an obvious call for violence. No, I don't think so. I think that was a statement of my biblically based apocalyptic view of the fight that America is fighting. And I literally know nothing about January 6th. Any claim that I knew in advance about, participated in, or even condoned any illegal action on that day or any other day is false. But some George Soros funded phony baloney legal law front threw my name into a lawsuit with President Trump and others, where I was sued by 8 Capitol Hill police officers, claiming that I had somehow put their life in danger. So to my surprise and with my gratitude, an Obama-appointed federal judge dismissed these charges against me 2 Fridays ago. Now, to be honest with you, it cost me, I don't know, somewhere around $58,000 in legal fees just to fashion the motion to dismiss. Had I ended up having to go to trial, it would have cost me $500,000 before it was over, money that quite candidly I don't have. Now, the lawyers in this case could seek to renew the charges against me. I will then ask for sanctions and seek to disbar them if they want to do that. They literally have nothing. But because I was targeted in the Mueller witch hunt, and because there was essentially a news blackout and I was unable to defend myself, there are many, many people in America who think that I was involved in Russian collusion. No such evidence was ever produced in court against me. There are others who think that I collaborated with WikiLeaks. Once again, no such evidence was ever produced in court against me. I was ultimately convicted in a Soviet-style show trial for lying to Congress about Russian collusion that never actually happened. It's not even possible. You can't lie to cover up something that didn't happen. Stone lied to Congress about Russian collusion. What would be my motive to lie if there was no Russian collusion to cover up or lie about. That's how broken our system in DC is. Anyway, I thank the Lord for this just result, and the fight continues.
Yes, sir. You are an exemplary patriot. I can't thank you enough, and God bless you for what you've been through. And I pray that you continue that fight and pray for your success. I know everyone here on the Patriot Party News Network supports you, and we'll continue praying for the truth to prevail.
Are we ready on the east?
Ready on the east.
Ready on the west?
Ready on the west.
Get going in 3, 2, 1.
Roger, I'd like to talk just a little bit about a growing problem, seems to be nationwide, but I'm very aware of it here in Oklahoma, and that is the CCP and agents of the CCP under shadow entities or shell companies purchasing farmland. We're over 300,000 acres that we know of currently owned by CCP operatives or entities, and I'd love to have your take on that and your thoughts.
Yeah, I think this is, the entire threat of the Chinese communists to this country is probably the number one international threat that we face. And unfortunately, we had a president who understood that, and a president who was fighting them on all levels, stopping their manipulation of our currency, stopping them from ripping off our intellectual property online, charging them billions of dollars in tariffs if they wanted to sell their goods here, while leaving their markets in China closed to American businesses. Now you have a president who, sadly, I think they have purchased a $54 million contribution to the Biden Center at the University of Pennsylvania, and God knows how much more through Hunter Biden. Maybe that explains how the Chinese were so brazen that they floated a surveillance balloon which traversed the entire country, went from over Montana, over Kansas, all the way to the Carolinas, without this nation taking any action at all. Well, that's because Biden would have to check with Xi to get permission to do anything. It's very sad. Now we have the promulgation of the big lie. Oh, well, there were Chinese surveillance balloons over the country when Donald Trump was president. No, if that's true, then nobody told the president of the United States, and nobody told the Secretary of Defense, and nobody told the National Security Advisor. That would mean that General Mattis, who was then the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, concealed that information from the president. And he basically admits why, because he thought Donald Trump would shoot the balloons out of the sky, which is the correct response. So to me, that looks like treason. Certainly looks like a court martial. Mattis has been very vocal in criticizing the president, but in this case, I really think he should be prosecuted. As far as the larger issue is, you have really touched on something that's extraordinary. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture in the Biden administration, the Chinese only own 160,000 acres nationwide. We know for a fact that they own 300,000 plus acres in Oklahoma alone. So none of the numbers coming out of the Agriculture Department can be believed. But it's not just prime ranch land or prime farmland that they're buying. They are buying up airports. They're buying up harbors. They're buying up toll roads. They're buying up toll plazas. They're buying up highways. They are buying up bridges and tunnels. Before you know it, they will own all of our infrastructure. Now, if you and I wanted, or either one of us wanted to go to Canada and buy any real estate whatsoever, we're prohibited by Canadian law from doing so. Let me just make sure this isn't the president.
Yes, sir.
It's not. And it is extraordinary that we are allowing the Chinese to buy up our country. Now, there is no distinction between a Chinese national and the Chinese Communist Party. There are no private property rights. There is no private ownership. So anyone in this country who is buying any asset who is a Chinese national is doing so for the Communist Party. It is controlled and in truth owned by the Communist Party, and therefore Donald Trump has come out and been very, very forthright that if he was returned to the White House, the first thing he would do would be to ban the Chinese from buying any other assets. The second thing he would do is confiscate the ones they already have banned, and he would start with those properties that they have acquired that are near strategic military installations where there's a high probability that they are using them for spying on us. I think this is one of the most important issues in the country.
Yes, sir. I've been paying very close attention to a lot of the farms and areas that are being bought, and noticed that many of them are located in areas that are directly on key water reserves or aquifers under the ground. And so I believe water rights may come into play sometime in the future, and I think it's something that everyone should be taking note of. So, Roger, thank you for being with us today. And for more information on Roger, you can visit stonezone.com, where you can help his fund, find his store, and also top stories and related events.
Very much appreciate being with you. I want to say a big shout out to all my good friends in the Sooner State. It is undeniable that your state has more patriots per square inch, perhaps, than any state in the country. God bless you and Godspeed.
All right, welcome back. JJ, so we were talking about active duty, talking about, you were just telling us a little bit about the Clarity and Focus, some of the QEEG studies, which can be found at activedutyrx.com. But you've also got some new products that are in the works, and you want to tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, man. I am fired up, over the moon, excited for the launch of these next two products that we have. We have a pain stick, a roll-on pain stick that's going to be coming out. It is going to be infused with a lot of cannabinoids, and it's going to have some extra CBG, in it as well, to help penetrate, past the surface, targeting those, the cannabinoid receptors to help with a lot of pain relief. So, and the main thing that, I want to express to everyone, especially, my fellow brothers and sisters that are still serving or have retired, our focus is to keep you safe. So rest assured, if it says on that label, THC free, verified and tested, that's what it's going to actually be. And I see a lot of people who say, oh, I would like to try a balm. I would like to try something on my skin, but I don't want to fail a drug test. Okay. Well, if it is applied to your skin, it's not processed through your liver or kidneys, and that's where your urine comes from. So if it's not processed through there, you may have some absorption to the skin, but it's not going to be anything, that's going to get you in trouble. So very excited for that. And also we have a THC-free gummy line coming out as well. I am very excited about that. And I am excited for the fact that not all gummies taste good, right? Some of them have some residual taste, and it's like, did I just swallow a cat? What the hell is this in my mouth? But these gummies are really good. I remember my first time tasting them. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. This is what, we've been waiting on. This is what we've been looking for. And now, we also know that when it comes to CBD tinctures, especially when we talk kids don't like taking oil. They don't like taking, medicine. But man, you give a kid a gummy and it looks like a piece of candy, man, they'll swallow it all day, every day,
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm really excited for that.
Well, and the gummies, those are a diabetic friendly, so the tapioca syrup.
Nice.
They are a pectin base, so they are vegan, natural colors, natural flavoring. And then on the cannabinoid profile, we've been talking about this being a broad spectrum containing those minors that give the entourage effect, all while being THC free.
Absolutely.
So the medicinal value of cannabis without the risk or psychoactive effects of the THC. And at some point in the future, we may release one that has some full spectrum aspect to it. That may fit active duty's profile, more for the
Right.
retired side of things, right?
Correct.
Those who no longer have to drug test, etc., that may be looking for a natural option to some of the over-the-counter even pain relievers that they're currently taking. So,
Right. And one thing I like to touch on real quick is, oftentimes, especially in certain states, everybody puts all their money on THC in regards to treating PTSD. As a combat veteran with PTSD, I am here to tell you that it is possible to treat things like that without THC. A lot of people might not want to hear that. A lot of these lobbyism groups that put all their money and stake in THC products might not want to hear that, but sorry, it is what it is. There are multiple ways to look at this from a cannabinoid standpoint, from a psychedelic standpoint, as well. So, yeah.
absolutely. Man, so much stuff going on. Again, activedutyrx.com is the main website. And they can find you here in a couple of weeks, along with myself, down in Dallas at EarthX. So
That's right.
I'm not sure what day you're speaking. I know I'll be there all 3 days. I'm sure you'll probably be there all 3 days as well. So
Yep.
we'll
Yep.
look forward
We're
to
definitely
that.
going to be on that. We're definitely going to be on the panel, and I'm not sure who's going to bring the silliness, whether it's you or me, but it's coming one way or another.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to have fun, no doubt. I can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Man, I can't
I
thank
know
you
your
enough for
schedule's
having me.
tight, and so appreciate you hopping on and giving us a little insight. Look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Please take care. Tell the family I said hello, and tell old Bray Bray I said congratulations.
Yes, sir, I will. My oldest son just got engaged yesterday, so that's
Absolutely.
going to be a fun one. You'll get the invite. Until then,
Yes.
we'll continue searching the past to grow a brighter future for everyone.
Are we ready on the east?
Ready on the east.
Ready on the west?
Ready on the west.
Get going in 3, 2, 1.